I'll make you famous. It's Harmless Phosphorescence. Everyone, this is your host, Arizona Thoreau Smiley. You've probably heard of me. I've killed 65 men, not counting the Dutch and Carnies. Who's joining me this week?
I always wanted a badass nickname, but I got stuck with Josh Cece.
All right, Dave's boys. It's me, Brian Lesh.
And I'm a lady to the manor born, Alaric Weber.
Yes.
Show us your virtue, Al.
A blue blood.
When Al rides horses naked, it's a sight to be seen. Wearing nothing but a big hat.
Even when he had long hair, it wasn't quite long enough.
This is Harmless Phosphorescence. It's your deep dive movie podcast where we pick a theme or series. We watch the movies, we gather some research into the production and the source material, and we tell you about it. This show's brought to you by our patrons. We've got patrons like executive producers Michael Beckwith and Atticus Burkett. You want to be a patron too? Go to patreon.com/harmlessentertainment. There's a bunch of bonus content there. There's Star Wars shows and holiday shows. We do monthly movies. We just put up The Running Man. That was our most recent one. And coming up soon, we'll be doing Dr. Detroit, which is a movie nobody remembers except me. But is it as good as it was when I was 7? We'll see. That's next time on the Harmless Entertainment Monthly Movie, Dr. Detroit. $1 a month is all you need. Patreon.com/harmlessentertainment. Right now, we are just finishing up our Young Guns series, short and sweet. Two movies. This is the second one, Young Guns 2.
It is therefore considered by the court that William H. Bonney be hanged till he be dead, dead, dead.
You can go to hell, hell, hell. Buenos tardes, amigos.
You're not dead.
Do I look dead?
The entire country is reading about our territory every day in the journals.
Should we give him a proper burial?
And they're not reading about our growth towards statehood.
I never stole a horse from someone I didn't like.
Now you just kill him. What they are reading about is a 21-year-old delinquent.
What scum?
Who is making us look like imbeciles.
Politicians, bankers, cattle kings. Scum.
I got 18 dimes in each barrel, boy.
You're starting to believe what they're writing about you, aren't you?
Oh, Bob!
You rode a 15-year-old boy straight into his grave.
Goodbye, Bob. Best $1.80 I ever spent.
And the rest of us, straight to hell.
I don't take to tenderfoots in my gang.
It ain't your gang, Dave.
Let's hire a thief.
$1,000, Mr. Garrett, to catch one. And all the resources you need to carry out the extermination
Just playing the game, Doc.
of one William H. Bonney. Even their horses are crazy.
We'll give him a game, all right.
They're starting to surround us. We gotta get out of here.
Dave, it's your gang.
What? It ain't my gang. It's your gang. It's always been your gang.
Emilio Estevez, Kiefer Sutherland, Lou Diamond Phillips, Christian Slater, Balthazar Getty, Alan Ruck, James Coburn, and William Peterson as Pat Garrett.
Yoo-hoo. I'll make you famous.
Young Guns 2.
Young Guns 2. It was released on August 1st, 1990. Had a running time of 104 minutes. Cost $20 million, and it made $59 million, almost the same as the first one. It did almost exactly the same numbers as the first one.
I mean, a sequel to a failed original movie. What do you expect?
I mean, the original movie was a hit.
It wasn't a failure.
It wasn't a
Oh, it was
failure
a
at
hit?
all. Yeah.
Oh.
It cost less, and it made $60 million. It made a lot of money. That's why they made a sequel.
Yeah.
This one is definitely better. I think you're right. A lot of this stuff is what I remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remembered this movie.
Yeah.
I didn't remember the first one after watching this.
Yeah, by the transitive property, I thought both movies were what this movie is. But
and I was disappointed about the level of storytelling between Pat Garrett and Billy, and they were either saving it for this or went back to that well, but I appreciated it. The first one was very just like, hey, Pat, and then I thought we were friends.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm glad they delve into that. It's very important. It's as important as Lincoln County War.
Yeah, definitely.
Ultimately, this probably should have just been one movie.
It could have been, because we pointed out the first one was a lot of riding from place to place. This seemed to have more locations where shit was specific to the location.
Yeah, well, and the first one was a lot of riding from place to place, like in silence for some reason.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So
I think the first one was going for that sweeping Western thing, and the second one was going for that referential, modern Western
yeah.
kind of thing. 'Cause it hit a lot of beats we've seen before.
Oh, yeah.
Movies.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, just this one, like, I think the change in director did a lot of good. Just the pacing, the soundtrack, everything was just like a much better, more well-oiled film.
Production, yes.
Yeah. So, like I said, it was released August 1st, 1990, and that means we're going to play the box office top 10 game. I like how I say it was released, so we'll play the game. Like if it hadn't come out on the first, we wouldn't. This is the game where I will describe the top 10 movies of the week of August 1st in 1990. And the guys here are going to try to guess what movies I am describing. What movies are being described by me.
There will be describing, and I'll be the one doing it.
That's right. Yeah. Few movies not in the top 10. We've got Back to the Future Part 3, Dick Tracy, Total Recall, Pretty Woman, all in the top 20, but not making the top 10.
Wild.
Those are all new this week.
Not new,
No.
Oh,
but
okay.
in the top, still playing in theaters.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
still.
But I bet some of those were top
That
10
was-
when they
That was,
dropped.
I think
that was
most
surprising.
All of them were number one, probably.
when they were the week of release, those were probably all number one. Yeah. And at number 10 for the week of August 1st, 1990, a panther and a bear have a difficult time trying to convince a boy to leave the jungle.
The Jungle Book.
Yeah, it's
the live-action Jungle Book?
No.
No.
The re-release of the Jungle Book.
Oh.
I think the live-action one was like 95 or 6, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
That early?
What?
Wow.
No,
that
I
one.
thought it was
Yeah.
Monkey City.
That's what that one was.
No. This was the re-release of the animated one, but the
I know, but Monkey City was a Jungle Book.
yeah, wasn't that that was a live-action Jungle Book?
I remember
there-
several of us seeing the theater.
I remember there being a live-action Jungle Book called The Jungle Book.
Yeah. Well, and then there was the one that
I don't remember Monkey City. What is Monkey
Well,
City?
we called it Monkey City. That's
That was just an inside joke because in it Mowgli says they're going to see the monkeys, and Mowgli says, "I call it Monkey City."
some called it Sling Blade.
You can hear Tony Bennett singing in Monkey City.
I always say, "Take me down to Monkey City where the monkeys are
Or green.
green and the monkeys are pretty."
It was like when we were at Billy Joel too.
Oh, you're right. That
There.
was 90. That was 94.
94.
Yeah, I forgot about that one, but you're right. It was a Jungle Book. I don't know if that was the title because it will always be Monkey City.
Yeah, it's at number 9 this week at the box office, a New York City film school student accepts a job with a local mobster and who takes the young man under his wing after demanding total loyalty.
The Graduate?
Not the graduate.
Freshman.
Yeah, the freshman.
Oh, the freshman.
He's got 4 years till he's the graduate.
Right,
Did
right,
we
right.
watch this for the podcast,
We
or did I just
did
watch
not.
this and talk about
No.
this with you guys? Because I watched this, I think, like 2 years ago.
Really?
It came up.
It's I haven't seen it since the 90s. I don't know how it holds up.
Same here.
It's insane.
I bet.
It's insane.
Marlon Brando's. It's weird what Marlon Brando did for money in the 90s.
He was having a good time doing it, I think, too, which is funny because he was just.
By all accounts, he hated every single job he had, and he was super selective about the job.
Mm-hmm.
But this
it wasn't Nick Cage where I got to take anything and I got to do my best.
No,
I think with that movie though, he got to play something that he hated talking about, so he enjoyed playing it badly. You know what I mean? Not badly, but just like ironically.
He liked taking the piss out of the movie he won the Oscar for.
Yes,
and refused to take. Yeah,
I can understand how my
highly overrated.
My early Sunday morning brain mixed up The Graduate and The Freshman, but they're two completely different movies.
Well, on different eras.
Completely.
But it's not a weird. Yeah, it made sense to me.
Oh yeah. No, like I said, it's
word association.
It'll be 4 years until Matthew Broderick's The Graduate.
Right. You said The Graduate, and I heard. So yeah, I hear Simon and Garfunkel whenever I hear the phrase The Graduate.
Yeah.
Anyway,
at number 8 this week at the box office, billionaire takes his nephews to Egypt to find a pyramid and a magic lamp. This is. Go ahead, Josh.
The Mummy?
No. Mummy was 99. This is a film that is kind of a spin-off of a popular television series, which has one of the best TV theme songs of all time, in my personal opinion.
Stargate?
Where in the world was
Hawaii
San
5-0?
Diego?
Life is like a hurricane. Here.
Oh. Is it DuckTales?
DuckTales, the movie, Treasure of the Lost Lamp.
Oh, far out. I saw that in the theater.
Yeah,
I didn't see it in theater, but I watched it a few times on VHS.
I was DuckTales crazy.
Oh, DuckTales was awesome. I love DuckTales. The reboot isn't bad either. I haven't watched much of it, seeing as I'm.
No, it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Same vibe, but they just introduced more characters, which is fun.
And it spawned one of the best and greatest memes of the last 10 years. Larry, I'm on DuckTales.
Yeah, that interview will always crack me up.
Yeah.
Do they have Robo Duck? What was his name?
Oh,
Gizmo Duck? Yes.
Gizmo Duck.
Yeah.
And his alias was Fenton Quackshell. That's useless information I have.
And his catchphrase was blather and blatherskate.
That's right. That's right.
That was the word.
Do they have him in the new one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Right on. I'll check that out.
Opening at number 7 this week, jazz trumpeter Bleak Gilliam makes questionable decisions in his professional and romantic lives. Don't we all?
His first name is Bleak?
Bleak. B-L-E-E-K.
Still, setting a guy up for failure.
Yeah, naming him Bleak.
Right. And there were so many trumpet-related movies at this time.
There were. This stars Denzel.
Oh, Mo Better Blues?
Mo Better Blues, a Spike Lee joint.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, that's a good movie.
Yeah, that's another one I have not seen in several decades.
Yeah.
There was some sketch show that made a fake commercial for Mo Better Butter. I can't remember which show. All right.
That sounds like In Living Color, but
it does. Or Mad TV. Yeah, no, In Living Color. Mad wasn't that big.
Yeah. At number 6 this week,
excuse me,
a cop attempts to avert disaster as rogue military operatives seize control of Dulles International Airport in Washington, D.C.
Get off my...
Die Hard 2. Yeah. The least
everyone has to go through TSA before the evil plot unfolds.
Yeah. My least favorite of the original 3 Die Hards.
Yeah. It was kind of like
Sam
Speed
Jackson
2.
one, right?
No, that was 3. The Sam Jackson
3?
one is awesome. I love.
Yeah,
That's
that
the
one
one in the
hard.
church with the runway and all that. Yeah.
It was like Speed 2. They put him in an environment that was much too large. The first Die Hard was claustrophobic, and that's kind of why you rooted for him. Like, I could never shimmy through a fucking vent, but he did.
Right, and
that's why he's a badass.
The third Die Hard was just like a buddy movie, which with Sam Jackson and Bruce Willis, and it was awesome.
Yeah, those Lethal Weapon vibes.
Yeah. At number 4.
Oh, I should have chosen that series.
Hey,
I love those. I have the rest of my life. Yeah, there's no end in sight.
Yeah. Until we're 90. At number 5 this week, a new species of South American killer spider hitches a lift to a California town in a coffin and starts to breed, leaving a trail of deaths that puzzle and terrify young Dr. Ross Jennings, who has newly arrived in town with his family.
Arachnophobia?
Arachnophobia, yes.
That was my guess, but then it started getting more convoluted, the description.
No,
that's what happens to the movie, too. I mean, eventually.
Yeah.
It was the name of the young doctor that really tipped it off for me.
Yeah, everyone remembers Dr. Ross Jennings.
I remember John Goodman as the exterminator.
Yeah, that's the only thing I remember from Arachnophobia.
That scene still haunts me.
At number 4 this week, a young boy is adopted by a loving man and his wife. The boy pushes them to the limits.
Oh, is this the problem child?
The problem child. I was
John Ritter.
Yeah, problem child, Beethoven. That like 90s thing where like a family gets a new member that's not nice.
Yeah. The first problem child was amusing.
Yeah,
I said it.
I don't know. I haven't seen it in so
long. It was
long.
another one that was on HBO a lot at the time, I remember.
Opening at number 3 this week, Billy the Kid and his band of outlaws are pursued across New Mexico territory by Sheriff Pat Garrett.
YG2.
Yeah. Number 3 it opens at. Did not open at number 1, which is surprising to me. What beat it out? At number 2 this week, as a lawyer investigates the murder of a colleague, he finds himself more connected to the crime than anyone else. Crazy that this is still holding.
The Firm?
No, this stars Harrison Ford.
So is it a Clancy?
Pelican Brief?
No, I don't know if this is a Clancy. I think it just may be a straight up kind of.
The Pelican Brief?
No, I don't know if it's a Clancy.
Or a Grisham.
Or a Grisham. I think it's just kind of a straight up kind of like, it's not exactly an erotic thriller, but it's trending that way.
It has Harrison Ford. It's already halfway there.
It says some people would kill for love.
Some people.
It's always dangerous to presume.
Oh, presumed innocent?
Presumed innocent, yeah. Yeah.
That's not a Grisham?
Is it?
I don't know. Let's not talk about Grisham because there's too many.
The Grisham verse.
Yeah. Presumed innocent. Let's see. It is based on a novel, but not a Grisham. Scott Turow.
Oh, Scott Turow, yeah. He wrote political drama action. I just was watching The Office last night, and Michael was being deposed in a deposition. And like, do you know the plaintiff? I do not, but I've seen The Firm, and I'm planning on watching The Pelican Brief.
I love that. I love that line.
Me too. And then he doesn't know the answer to a question. He's like, line? Excuse me, what did he say? The judge is like, he asked for a line, like in a play.
And at number 1 for the week of August 1st, 1990, in its 4th week of release, after a young man is murdered, his spirit stays behind to warn his lover of impending danger with the help of a reluctant psychic.
The Crow?
No. Much bigger hit than The Crow.
Reluctant psychic.
Patrick Swayze?
We are crazy for Swayze.
What was it called?
It's one word, and it's what he is.
Ghost.
Ghost.
It is Ghost.
Ghost.
It is Ghost. Oh, I was muted. I kept saying Ghost.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could feel you telling me, Josh. It was like you had your hands wrapped around my ears.
You weren't muted, Josh. You were in the spirit world.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
You were giving Brian the name of the movie through spiritual clay.
Through pottery.
Spiritual pottery.
You could say we are
no
the spiritual
ghosting.
pottery, Josh. You and me.
Yep, you and me.
Yeah, Ghost. It's crazy how in 1990, like the biggest movie of the year could just be like, guy's dead, but he hangs out.
I mean, the same thing happened in like 2002 with Shyamalan.
Yeah.
Guy's dead, but he hangs out. But this time it's with a kid. Yikes. Turns out the kid's dead too, or something. I forget that movie. Anyways, spoiler alert.
He can see dead people.
Oh, that's right. He could.
And the first one he sees is Bruce Willis. But what a shock when the only person he talks to is the kid that can see ghosts.
Yeah. That's it for the box office top 10 game, which brings us to the film production. So just briefly, actually, I'm going to touch on the historical accuracy of the film.
Cool.
So first off, let's start with Brushy Bill Roberts. Brushy Bill was a real person.
Yeah.
Who in the late 40s basically came into the public eye claiming to be Billy the Kid.
Yeah, I remember. Not at the time, I don't remember, but I read those stories.
Yeah, at the time I was way too busy to remember.
Not being born?
Yeah, too busy not existing.
Just hanging out in your dad's balls.
Yeah.
Granddad.
No.
Yeah, that's true. No, wait.
My dad was alive in the late 40s. He would have, I don't know, he would have been like 5 years old, but still.
But still.
So yeah, Brushy Bill, it was never he was never definitively disproved, but
or proved.
Yeah, he was never proved at all.
It's like the Vance couch thing, if we can't say you did it, you can't say you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. We can't definitively disprove it never happened. We can only prove that you say it didn't happen, Vance.
It's such a fascinating end to that story, though, that this guy just lived in obscurity for 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the notes I'm talking about where it hits a lot of what, I mean, that's totally Little Big Man.
Yeah.
It's Little Big Man.
Absolutely.
What year did Little Big Man come out?
You have to take his word.
Little Big Man was like 67, 68, 70.
60.
Yeah. Somewhere in there, yeah. Late 60s, early 70s.
They've got to be the same age, too, him and Dustin Hoffman.
The characters?
Oh,
the actors themselves playing the old man. They both got to be like 27 playing a 90.
Playing the old.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely. Emilio Estevez's makeup was better than Dustin Hoffman's.
Oh yeah, it was. Well, and we didn't have to stare at it for most of the movie.
Yeah, no, Dustin Hoffman's old man makeup in Little Big Man truly looks like a melted rubber mask.
Yeah, I had to watch that in high school, and I remember being like, "Is it me or is this screen blurry? What's going on here? This is messed up."
Thoreau showed it to me for the first time.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I loved it. But yeah, it's a wise choice to use very younger actors because then it allows you to have more lifespan.
Yeah.
If you pick up with a guy that's 50, then it's like, I don't know, 70 years later. So same with Dustin Hoffman. He had to be pretty young at Custer's Last Stand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The Brushy Bill Roberts part is what makes it possible for them to have a Young Guns 3, which Emilio Estevez is currently attempting to get off the ground. It would apparently take place in the 20s.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see if it comes to fruition and it comes out, then it's a movie we would by default then do because it's part of this series.
I mean, if you have an older character recounting his life as a younger character, it works.
Yeah.
Works in almost any situation. Like, I'm old at this moment, but that's not where the story's at.
Mm-hmm.
Works for this.
So as far as the actual for the Billy the Kid, the 1800s portion of this, so Billy the Kid and Pat Garrett were friends. Pat Garrett was never part of Billy's criminal gang, like the movie pretends. They worked together herding cattle prior to Billy becoming an outlaw, and were friends at that point.
And when Pat Garrett, he did open a hotel.
Yeah,
right.
He did.
A food house,
and he was elected sheriff.
Salon. And Billy often visited his establishment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yes. And then Garrett was elected sheriff. He wasn't simply appointed to hunt down Billy, though it was one of the things that got him elected.
Right, yeah, the businessmen in Towson, Santa Fe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they didn't just slide a badge across the table. I've seen that in other Billy the Kid, well, notably Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. Yeah, they like that scene a lot, where it's more clandestine than it really was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the general events of the film are basically historically accurate as far as what Garrett hunting down Billy and those involved. Now, the members of Billy's gang at this point, Doc Scurlock was not involved, but they wanted Kiefer back. Jose Chavez was also not involved at this point, and was actually he survived and died of old age in 1924. He settled down, and at this point was actually almost 40 years old.
And Doc Scurlock, excuse me, Doc Scurlock lived to be 80 years old.
Yeah.
Died in 1929.
Yeah, neither of these two were part of Billy's gang at this point. They were regulators and were involved in the Lincoln County War, but,
never got pulled back in.
Yeah.
Right.
They went to go live their lives. Didn't get pulled back in by the law.
Now, Arkansas Dave Rudabaugh, Christian Slater's character, was also a regulator, and he was also involved in the Lincoln County War and remained part of Billy's gang afterwards. So he probably should have been in the first movie. He was a regulator.
Well, and it's Christian Slater. He should have been in the first movie because he's Christian Slater.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just awesome, but he brings a lot to this one. So,
yeah, I think he brings more than the ensemble cast brought to the first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Henry Newton Brown, played by Alan Ruck. He also was a regulator involved in the Lincoln County War. All of these guys, which they brought in afterwards in this film, were all part of the regulators, and they were all part of the Tunstall Murphy situation. So none of these were new characters as far as real life goes. They were all involved from the beginning. Same with Tom O'Folliard, who was the Balthazar Getty. Yeah, he. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Alan Ruck was actually a composite character. He was Henry William French in the movie.
Yes.
Based on two different farmhands.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Henry Brown and Jim French.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
That's even funnier when he reemphasizes that his name is this made up composite name. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Yeah. Tom O'Folliard was let's see. He was also based on a real person. He was actually a year older than Billy the Kid in real life. He was not 14 years old.
He was Billy the Tween.
Yeah. But
Tommy the Tween.
Tommy, that's right. Tommy the tween.
But he was actually killed during this these historical events.
But he was 20 or 21.
Yeah, like 21, 22, yeah. Yeah, so, and of course, John Chisholm, the Cattle Baron, was very involved in the Lincoln County War. He was the benefactor of the what's Tunstall, that's the name, yeah. Yeah.
And that's the one played by James Coburn?
Yes.
Who played Pat Garrett fantastically.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's it. It was, for the most part, not entirely inaccurate, but it was, they obviously they took their liberties as they saw fit to make a better film, or to make the story they wanted to tell anyways. So the film was written again by John Fusco, who wrote the first film. We talked about that last week. This was directed by Jeff Murphy, who they brought on to replace the original director. Jeff Murphy is he's a New Zealand filmmaker. This is probably what he's best known for, honestly. He and Free Jack are the two biggest movies he did. Yeah, as far as being director on, he did a bunch of small independent New Zealand films, and he did a bunch of second unit work on the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Being from New Zealand. Yeah. So he's. I think it was a vast improvement over the direction and production of the first film.
Agreed.
It was filmed in New Mexico and Arizona, including at Old Tucson. Mm-hmm. And there were a couple of shots. I believe I saw a shot of Santa Vera in there at one point.
And that seemed like Cochise's stronghold down in the Chiricahuas. Like there were those narrow kind of things that were used as fortresses.
Yeah, there were.
That was actually Tent Rocks in New Mexico.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, so they also filmed at White Sands in New Mexico. But yeah, throughout... and there were a few scenes that they filmed in Sonora, Mexico. So throughout the area where we currently are. John Bon Jovi was brought on because Emilio Estevez personally asked John Bon Jovi to if they could include Wanted Dead or Alive, and John Bon said that he didn't think that song would work, so he wrote Blaze of Glory for the movie. Was a #1 hit, and he named his first solo album after the song Blaze of Glory. Alan Silvestri did the soundtrack, which is good because it actually had a soundtrack, unlike the first movie, which barely had music. As far as our cast, of course, as we said, Emilio Estevez is back as Billy the Kid and Brushy Bill Roberts. Kiefer Sutherland back as Doc. Lou Diamond Phillips back as Chavez. Christian Slater as Arkansas Dave Rudabow. Is this our first Christian Slater movie? Have we done anything with him previously? I don't think so.
He was the dad in us. No, damn it, that's wrong. I'm thinking of what's his face, asshole guy, Dennis Leary.
Oh yeah.
Spider-Man's girlfriend.
Oh yeah, no. He has not. We have not done a Christian Slater film, so I mean, obviously Christian Slater was a 80s, became big as an 80s teen actor. The Legend of Billie Jean was his first film. That's one of my wife's favorite movies from her childhood. But I probably first.
I love that movie.
It's a great movie. Great movie.
Are we talking about Balthasar?
No, we're talking about Christian Slater.
Yeah, man. Pump up the volume.
Pump up the volume. I love.
I own it.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies. Heathers, of course.
Oh my God, Heather. But that's when he was deep in his like, I'm just gonna do Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's see.
My favorite is Archer when he plays himself.
Yes. Yeah, that's great.
He played himself on The Office as well.
He's going to be starring opposite Sarah Michelle Gellar in the Dexter prequel series that's coming out.
Oh, that's right. He's the father. Yeah. Did anybody watch Mr. Robot?
Yeah.
I watched the first
Mr.
season.
Robot.
He was great in that.
It's insane. It ends so crazy too. But
he had another show like that, right? Where he was like a gambler or a con man or like whatever. Not important.
He True Romance. He was great in True Romance.
Oh my God. So good. I love that movie.
Yeah. True Romance is crazy.
When he hands Gary Oldman's character that empty envelope.
Oh my God.
That is exactly
Gary Oldman's
my piece of mind.
True Romance character is one of the craziest things on screen in cinema history. Yeah.
And Sam Jackson is present. I eat the pussy, I eat the ass, I eat all that shit.
Let's see. William Peterson played Pat Garrett.
He played him quite well.
Yeah, he did a good job. William Peterson. Oh God, let's see. Prior to this, he was in To Live and Die in L.A., Manhunter, which was the first Hannibal Lecter movie before Silence of the Lambs.
And he's Will Archer? He's the guy Ed Norton later on plays.
Yeah. Yes. Will Graham.
Will Graham. Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. After this, he was in The Contender in 2000.
That movie is brilliant if you haven't seen it.
It's a good movie. I haven't seen it in like 20 years, but yeah.
Oh, it's really good.
Let's see. He was on CSI for 15 years.
Somebody had it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not that I ever watched it, but I've seen a lot of promos for CSI, and yeah, now I see the face.
Yeah. Yeah, CSI for a lot of years, including reprising his role in CSI Vegas as late as 2021.
I'll only watch it if it's CSI Pima.
Oh my God. And he played the same character in 4 CSI video games. I didn't even know there were CSI video games.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slow paced.
Alan Ruck as Hendry. Oh my God, not Henry, but Hendry. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's Hendry.
Hendry William French. Best known as Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Also Spin City for like 6 years. Oh, he was in Succession too.
Oh, he's great in Succession.
Yeah.
The Fredo type son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speed. He was in Bad Boys, Twister, Three Fugitives, a movie which is one of those 80s action comedy kind of things that, along with Inner Space, that Martin Short was doing.
Not a big role, but Star Trek Generations.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. He's the nervous captain.
Yeah.
The nervous captain.
Trying to get the ship out of dock.
Yeah. Yeah. He's.
Oh, no, wait. Is that Galaxy Quest?
No.
Holy
That's
shit.
That's Generations.
Okay. All right.
No, he's still and he's still working. He still does TV. Obviously, he just finished Succession. But yeah, he's still working. Let's see. We James Coburn, of course, is John Chisholm, who played Pat Garrett in Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. But also Magnificent Seven, The Great Escape, Duck You Sucker. That one I haven't seen. But yeah, James Coburn, classic 60s Western in action film guy.
Was he Flint? Like Flint?
Oh yeah. Our Man in Like Flint, Our Man Flint. There was a whole Flint series.
Yeah, there was like a sort of goofy James Bond.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I thought that was him.
Yeah, he was great in those. I kind of want to watch Duck You Sucker. That's A Fistful of Dynamite. I didn't know it had a different name. Okay.
Huh. Duck.
Yeah.
Duck You Sucker, is that it?
Yeah, Duck You Sucker.
So, not the waterfowl.
No.
The literal action of ducking.
Yes, exactly. Balthazar Getty as Tom O'Folliard. Balthazar Getty. Oh my God. Of course. I didn't realize Balthazar Getty was part of the Gettys. John Paul Getty.
He is?
John Paul Getty is his father. John Paul Getty III. I almost made
a joke about the museum. I almost joked like he also started the Getty Images.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the Gettys.
How did he not have a longer career being such a nepo baby?
Because he probably didn't. Because he didn't have to. He could just do it while he was interested, and then.
That would be exactly why I would act, not because I have to. But anyways, wow, I had no idea he was in that family.
Yeah, I didn't know that was him. But his acting debut was in Lord of the Flies, the 1990 Lord of the Flies, a movie which truly haunts me to this day.
Yeah, it got raw like the book.
It really did. Lost Highway, of course, another movie which haunts me to this day in a different way.
Yeah, it totally does. Gives me those weird feelings.
He was a regular on Charmed and Alias. Wow, he did keep working. Brothers and Sisters, he kept working. He's in Megalopolis. Holy shit.
Okay, well.
He's still working.
There you go.
Just not in anything we've been watching. And he was in Twin Peaks: The Return.
Wow.
Okay.
Lynch likes him.
Yeah, for sure.
And he played a sandworm in Dune.
Jenny Wright played Jane Greathouse, the prostitute. She was her debut was in The World According to Garp.
Wow.
Yeah.
Long ago. Oh, I bet she was the little girl that he tried to show us.
She was also in The Wall. She played a groupie in The Wall. Interesting. She was in St. Elmo's Fire, The Wildlife, Chocolate War. She had a pretty good 80s career. Kind of fell off after that.
Chocolate War.
Yeah, I remember that movie. I remember the book. I think I read the book.
Yeah, I don't remember the movie. I remember the book.
Yeah. Yeah. After this, her career kind of fell off. She started just doing a lot of like television guest spots. Her last on-screen role was in 1998. Oh my God, she was in The Lawnmower Man. Oof.
I just saw that.
Yeah. After 1998, it seems she retired.
She's like, it's lawnmower person. Thank you.
Let's see, I'm not gonna go into everybody, but a few actors of note playing smaller roles. Viggo Mortensen as John Poe. He was doing a lot of work pre Lord of the Rings that I didn't notice at the time. Obviously, before Lord of the Rings, he was also in Witness in 1985. Wow, Wow.
Yeah, he's one of the Amish. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Carlito's Way, Crimson Tide, G.I. Jane, A Perfect Murder.
That I remember. They were arguing. He was one of the guys that Denzel was arguing about the Silver Surfer in Crimson Tide.
Oh.
Weird comic book moment in a war movie.
Yeah. And of course, obviously became very well known after Lord of the Rings for playing Aragorn, son of Arathorn. Every time I say, I have to say son of Arathorn. And Bradley Whitford playing the lawyer at the beginning.
Love Bradley.
Yeah. I did not remember he was in this, but yeah, Bradley Whitford, of course. West Wing, I think, is what
I think this is the earliest thing. This is before Billy Madison, right?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
That was like
But Billy Madison is where he stood out.
Yeah.
This is Brad Whitford's 6th movie.
Before this, he was in Presumed Innocent the same year. So, yeah, 2
Oh.
movies. But something called Vital Signs. Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise.
I do remember him being in that.
And he was in Adventures in Babysitting.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember him in that, but I
Really?
haven't watched Adventures in Babysitting in a very long time.
Yeah, it's been over 20 years, but like,
Andy loves the movie, so I've seen it more recently. But
Yeah.
Wow.
He was in Scent of a Woman, Philadelphia. Speaking of Grisham, The Client. Wow. Yeah. Fucking Bradley Whitford, man.
And he's married to Jane Kasmerick, the mom from Malcolm in the Middle.
Okay. Nice.
Been married for years, yeah.
really? I didn't know
Uh-huh.
that. That's crazy. That's awesome. Good for them.
Yeah. And I guess the last one I'll mention is Leon Rippey, who plays Sheriff Bob.
Yeah. I have one. I can't remember his last name. He's Nicky something, but he played Beaver, the bar.
Oh,
Tracy Walter.
yeah.
Tracy. I knew it was a unisex name. But
Yeah, that guy.
He's popped up in everything.
Yeah, he was in Batman. He was Bob the Goon in Batman.
That's right. You're my number one guy.
He was Cookie in City Slickers. Yeah, he was in Silence of the Lambs. Also in Philadelphia. Yeah, no, just a very well-known character actor who. Oh, he was in Midnight Run. That's right. Who who always plays like a kind of Weasley guy.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, Leon Rippey playing Sheriff Bob. He was let's see. He was in Deadwood, The Patriot. He's another one of those character actors that I recognize without really knowing where I recognize him from.
Stargate.
Okay, the movie or the show?
I think the show.
Yeah, I definitely didn't watch that.
Didn't see that. The movie's brilliant. But I didn't see that.
No, 1994 Stargate. He was in the movie.
Oh, okay.
The 13th Floor. Yeah, it's so many things.
I'd like to do Stargate at some point. That's another Yuma filmed movie.
Yeah, good movie.
It's not bad, yeah.
Crazy that it has like 19 TV shows.
Yeah, it's just a gate. It's just a portal.
Yeah.
They figured that out right away.
It's a gate to licensing. Like, oh, you want to make a story? Hell yeah. Sign right up.
It's a gate to we can film anywhere real cheap and just say we went through a gate.
Wait, you have an original idea? Can you make it a Stargate idea? And we'll sign you up right now.
Like, you bet I can.
In actuality, it was 3 TV shows.
It just
was
seems
only
like
three?
those-
They were
How
only
many
3.
seasons?
A lot of seasons.
That's what I was going to say. I don't remember a point in my childhood that there wasn't a Stargate thing on TV.
They're arguably good.
I haven't watched a single moment of any of them. Young Guns 2 has 31% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, 66% audience score.
Does this have a lower score than the first one? as far as critic scores go.
Oh, what was the first one? Let's see, the first one.
Because I thought the first was like 40 something.
Yeah, the first one had 43%. This has a lower critic score. Yeah.
People have an aversion to sequels that I've never understood.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, especially back then, too. It was not that it's changed in the sense of it being a cash grab, but it was very like seen cynically as a cash
imagination.
Yeah. This movie was reviewed by Siskel and Ebert.
Yes. 2 thumbs down? That's going to be my guess.
Way down.
Yeah.
Just because they're fans of Westerns.
Gene's going to hate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Gene's going to hate it.
This movie could have reached a little further. Anyway, another movie playing around the country is Young Guns 2, a film that seems to want to ask this question. Could Billy the Kid have benefited from some timely psychological counseling? The movie stars Emilio Estevez as Billy the Kid in a rewrite of history that claims Pat Garrett didn't really kill the kid at all, and also that Billy was more image than reality, even to himself.
Well done, William. Splendid performance. However, there are 3 candles left and only 2 bullets.
This is an Indian burial ground that the gang comes across, and Christian Slater wants to desecrate one of the graves. This is Lou Diamond Phillips as a half-breed member of the group who doesn't want the bones of his ancestors disturbed, and so they get into a fight, but the fight is just another fight scene, and the movie is filled with things like this that don't really go anywhere and seem to be recycled out of other Western movies. Billy the Kid's ability to convince those around him that he does lead a sort of charmed life allows him to sell them fantasies like this one about a trail he says leads to Mexico.
I'm taking the Mexican Blackbird.
Well, what are you taking?
The broken trail will go down to Old Mexico. Only me and a few other boys know it.
And that is Kiefer Sutherland as the other actor in that scene. And these actors, Emilio Estevez, Christian Slater, Lou Diamond Phillips, Kiefer Sutherland, are all good actors. And they were good in the original film. They're good in this film. What I kept getting the feeling of, though, was that they had given more thought to who their characters were and what their characters were like than the screenplay and the direction ever gave any thought to. So that they seemed to have an interior life going on in many of the scenes that never got out of the movie and out to the audience because the screenplay is so dumb.
Yeah, I think the screenplay doesn't have a real attitude about the characters, at least a consistent one. I mean, obviously what we're watching here, you criticize the film for them not being John Wayne or not being Robert. Well, that's the point of the picture. It is called Young Guns. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to show that actually people closer in age to the age that these characters really were, they were very young. I think maybe what we resent is that they seem so contemporary and in their language choices sometimes that it just rings false. They stand out apart from the setting. The other thing is, the picture starts to embrace Billy the Kid and then it disposes of him. I don't know that the writer knows what he thinks of Billy the Kid.
I mean, the movie starts and ends with the fact that Billy the Kid is still alive in 1950, allegedly, and talking about all these things that happened in his past.
Right.
And the movie itself never seems to have an attitude toward that. Is he a good guy? He wants a pardon, he says. I want the governor to pardon me for the 22 men I killed. But then it turns out he did kill 22 men.
No, the picture doesn't add anything to our knowledge about Billy the Kid. Coming up later in the show, the raging controversy involving movies that may have to be censored in order to avoid the dreaded X rating. But now...
Okay.
Can we just simmer and just soak in the sentence of Christian Slater wants to destroy a grave in the Indian burial
He wants
ground.
to desecrate.
Phillips. Yeah, just I love that. I loved hearing him read that sentence out loud. Just because it's such a weird thing to hear.
Yeah, no. Christian Slater wants to desecrate an Indian burial ground.
It just sounds like an after Oscars party in 92. That went south.
Yeah, he didn't care about it. I don't think he was grave to desecrate.
He's like,
and he also was, he was looking to make money. He wasn't just after desecration.
Yeah. I'm going to sell them bones.
Sell them
That's
bones
true.
good.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't personal. It was capitalism.
Yeah. So that's about it for the background guys. You ready to jump into the movie?
Giddy up.
Is this going to make us famous?
Oh, wow. No.
Short answer, no. Long answer, also no.
Yeah. But either way, here we go. This is Young Guns 2. We open on a credit sequence over an old man riding a horse through the desert. Then we pan to some paved roads and some cars. It's 1950.
We never got the name of that horse.
Are you saying he rode through the desert on a horse with no name?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I thought it was funny just the way you said it, and then bam, second meaning.
We didn't get any horses' names in this movie, so
no. Horses are always
he's not alone. It's just horse.
They're always overlooked
unless it's a central character.
Hashtag justice for horses.
Yeah, horse.
You always know the name of the horse when they have to put it out of its misery.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that's Buttercup. How right?
Artex.
Al, there may be an in-universe reason for why they don't say the names of the horses, because they're all stolen horses and they don't know the horses' names. What does it matter anyways? They're just a horse. It's going to respond to you.
They're your everything. Then they were your transportation, your friend. They rode you into battle.
But I mean, it's like a car thief.
They held you close on those long, lonely nights.
They're like car thieves that don't own cars.
We turned our back on horses, pity. But I like Gal's moment. It would have been funny if Treyu just took out a gun and took that horse out of its misery.
It was like horses
kind of life.
It was like, I'll get another horse. The story never ends.
Horses for days, yo.
We meet attorney Charles Phelan, who's come there to meet with Brushy Bill Roberts. Brushy Bill tells him he wants a pardon he was promised 70 years earlier by the governor of the New Mexico Territory. He claims that he's Billy the Kid and he was never actually killed. Phelan asks if Bill has any proof. And Bill has to think back over his whole life before he, just like Dewey Cox.
Just like Dewey Cox. That's what Andy said.
Yeah. No, anytime there's this conceit in a movie now, I just think of Dewey Cox.
Yep.
Bill tells him his story beginning in 1879. He's Billy the Kid. He's got himself a new gang with Arkansas Dave Rudabow and Pat Garrett. We find 4 men coming to try to capture Billy. They kill them all. We learn that after the Lincoln County War, the New Mexico governor Lew Wallace has issued warrants for the arrest of everyone involved.
Hey, wasn't that actor, what's his name in Walking Dead? The old guy.
Oh, yeah.
In the beginning.
Got his head cut off. The dad of the 2 gals. Yeah. Yeah. Herschel.
Oh.
I think that's it. Herschel.
That is Herschel. Yeah.
I thought so.
Huh. I did not realize that. Oh, you know what? Someone we missed in the cast, Richard Schiff was in this movie. Toby from West Wing.
Oh.
Man. He plays a rat bag.
Oh.
The character's name was Rat Bag.
So both Josh and Toby are in this movie.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
And the son of the president.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Oh yeah. Huh. I didn't know he did the voice work for Odin, God of War Ragnarok. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeremy mentioned that to me actually. And supposedly it's incredible.
I'm most of the way through the first one. I'm going to be playing Ragnarok at some point soon, but yeah. So they we cut to New York, where Doc is teaching kids letters, and he gets arrested. That's a day those kids are going to run home and tell their parents about.
Absolutely.
The teacher got arrested for murder.
How was your day?
Yeah. He was teaching us the letter W, and then they burst in and said he was friends with Billy the Kid.
And he's like, does W start with a D?
And also, they probably shouldn't be pulling guns on a classroom full of kids. But it was the 1800s, so they don't really care. Those kids are lucky they're learning letters anyways. Why aren't they in a factory?
Luckily to be alive. Like, go put the sickly baby in the shed.
Until he shuts up.
See if he fights these rickets off.
So we cut back to Billy. Him, Dave, and Pat arrive in a small village. They meet Tom O'Folliard, a teenager who's come out west because he wants to join the gang because he's read about Billy in the dime novels.
This was Old Fort Sumner.
Yeah. Which was a real place that they visited often, Billy and... Yeah. Some soldiers arrive.
I think you can even visit the site.
Wasn't he buried there?
He was, yes. Yes.
Supposedly.
Yeah. Unless we're to believe Brushy Bill. But yeah, Fort Sumner is in New Mexico. So let's see. Some soldiers arrive. Billy has to hide in a barrel. Meanwhile, back in Lincoln, Doc arrives as a prisoner. He gets put in a pit with a bunch of the Murphy boys and Chavez, who once Chavez is like, don't hurt him, the Murphys are like, well, I guess we won't, because reasons for the plot to happen.
Also reputation.
Sure.
You know, the myth is larger than, those dudes were regulators. That Indian will stab you in the brain. Kind of thing.
Things are different here in the pit.
Working in a whole pit.
Bane is going to come back at any time.
They're like, let the child try. Pit justice.
Pit justice. Then Pat brings Billy some beans and tells him that Governor Wallace wants to meet him and have him testify against the Murphy gang that's in the pit. A friend of Billy's tries to kill him for the bounty, and then the soldiers are back, so Billy decides it's time to go make a deal with the governor. He meets with Governor Wallace, who agrees to pardon him if he testifies against the Dolan Murphy gang. Then he shoots some candles.
Well, the governor makes him impress all of his little, cronies.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you, which is kind of humiliating, Sure, I'll honor your deal. Now do these tricks.
Yeah, do some parlor tricks in a literal parlor.
Right. Yeah. All those bullets went through.
Yeah, he's shooting.
Cherry wood.
I can't imagine that it was, just shooting up a house is not something.
Yeah.
I think there was a window behind that, but that's more dangerous to the people outside.
More,
yeah,
or just a bad place to shoot.
No, they absolutely treat guns as just the bullets just disappear unless they're shooting at a person.
I think the governor actually opened the window. He's like, no, I don't want my window to get shot out.
But if the citizenry can die.
My eyes saw another room, but that would make more sense.
My eyes see Oppenheimer.
Or taking it outside on the veranda, his massive veranda.
Yeah. Billy then discovers he's been tricked into getting arrested with no chance of testifying because the governor leaves. He didn't exactly lie, but he didn't exactly tell the truth either.
I like how there's no malice in him saying that too. Where he's like, yep, I'm an idiot.
Yeah,
I walked into a jail and I let them put shackles on me.
It's my fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that he says it without saying it too. It's just,
Yeah.
So Billy escapes through the stovepipe hole in the roof. Sees the sheriff just shoveling manure onto the prisoners.
Yeah.
No Geneva Convention here.
Not even the Magna Carta.
Yeah. He returns at night with Dave and Garrett, pretending to be a lynch mob. He gets Doc and Chavez out, but then they have to flee when a real lynch mob shows up.
You reminded me of that scene in Django Unchained with the incompetent clan arguing with themselves.
My wife cut holes in all of these for all of y'all. Ungrateful.
You grateful bastards. Make your own hoods then.
I kind of liked how he got out of his chains because he had small hands and big wrists.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Small
it is a
hands
historical
and big
fact
wrists.
that I have small hands and large
They couldn't go
wrists.
down further, but he was able, Now, something like that, if I'm not mistaken, historically happened where he did escape his feeble captors.
He escaped his the real Billy the Kid escaped his captors, as did Dave Rudabaugh escaped their captors numerous times.
No, I know, but I
arguably
remember
every time.
Yeah.
No, I remember like you're gonna hang tomorrow, and he basically escapes the gallows.
Yeah,
maybe I'm thinking of something.
No, he did
it.
He absolutely did.
No, I know he did it, but never mind. I'm not articulating. We can go.
No,
I know he did many times. But I thought after making this crooked deal.
Oh, yeah.
This scene.
No, I think
sort of happened.
I think it did. Yeah. No, I think it did kind of happen.
Cool.
So, there we get a big action sequence. A lot of people die. The town gets set on fire.
Supposedly John Bon Jovi was in the pit.
Yeah, as a cameo. Yes,
as a cameo, along with the director
and Richard
also
Stanley
did a cameo in the pit.
They threw John Bon Jovi in the pit for Slippery When Wet.
Marvel should take that into account for future cameos. Every movie just needs a pit that you can just put your cameos in.
Put all your cameos in the pit.
The cameo pit.
A cameo pit, yeah. I'm just a day player. I have to be in the pit.
Safe the next morning, Doc and Chavez reluctantly agreed to join them to travel the Mexican Blackbird Trail to Mexico. Doc agreeing only when he sees the army is actually closing in.
The whole drawn out thing with Billy shooting off the chains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was so fun.
It was fun. Just Doc pleading with him, just shoot the chain.
The first thing he says in that scene is, I've got this injury in my arm that makes it kind of hard to hold my gun straight. So give me a minute because I'm trying to get my shit together so that I can shoot this thing off. You ready?
Right.
He's waving it around in his face.
And he's looking like he's questioning whether it would work or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, how close he has to be to it. I think he knew all the time.
I
love because
the,
Doc hates those kind of antics. Sorry, Brian.
Yeah. Well, I love him talking about Doc. So they split, and all Doc needed was just a little more time to think. Some of the voiceovers really worked for me. Most of the time they were punching just under their weight. They weren't working. But sometimes in that moment, I was like, this is why we have the old man narrator, because it's funny to have him perceiving this with his own messed up view of things. It didn't work the whole movie. I wish that had accomplished that goal at least 5 times in the movie, you know?
Yeah. I mean, so this movie was so much the humor hit a lot better in this one than in the first one. And it was just a lot more fun. So much more fun.
The drama was better.
Yeah.
The camaraderie was more viable, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because there were more of them and they all worked together non-outlaw style. But this one, there seemed to be a closeness that didn't exist.
I was thinking about that, the camaraderie between the two movies. And the first movie, Billy just does pop in at the very beginning, so they don't really know him. But this movie did feel like they had known him, and it was like running into your high school buddy that causes trouble all the time and being like, "Oh, God damn it, here's Billy."
Yeah,
well, you roll your eyes
and go out with Billy, I guess.
Right?
They nailed that vibe.
Absolutely. I thought it was funny to me still every time Billy was like, "You don't know what it means to be pals." Like, oh, pals.
And he was less brutal.
He was,
as if he had aged some.
He wasn't as sociopathic in this film.
But that's what I was looking for. Yes, he wasn't. There was a lot of empathy in this. There was a lot of choices made for the better of the group.
He legitimately.
First one is like, I'll blow some dude's head off right in front of everyone with no proof.
Yeah. The fame and his like the adoration / fear from the general public has made its way into his brain in interesting ways. Like he goes into towns and if he's greeted, he's like, "Hell yeah, I love this place. You guys are great."
Yeah.
But the moment somebody like gets kind of shifty.
Well, and like how he likes the one deputy, the one deputy who was in charge of him and is really sad that he has to shoot him. Yeah, George.
Or no, that was Bell.
Bill, yes.
Well,
yeah.
But George was the guy who put the shackles on him for the last time, but he like clearly had been chummy with George too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He loves the cat and mouse now. In the first one, he was running for his life, like it or not. This one, it's a game he gets to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as he can tell, he can't die, basically.
Yeah. So back in Lincoln, the sheriff refuses to go after Billy. He thinks it's too dangerous. Billy and the gang head back to Fort Sumner, where Billy is trying to get some new members, but no, the only ones that want to join up is an ex-farmer, Hendry William French, and they take on teenage Tom.
It's like
Pat leaves.
Yeah. Pat
leaves then,
Pat says he's going to stay behind and open up a restaurant or bar, boarding house type thing. Something old Western.
What did he call it? An eating house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If only we had a word for that.
I guess that's the modern term for an inn.
Yeah. An eating house.
I like that it was a mini snippet of like that Mystery Men, even Deadpool, like interviewing subpar superheroes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, up to the like, I want a name thing too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Billy and the gang go to see John Chisholm, who's a benefactor of Tunstall. They demand $500 for him. They say they owe him. He refuses. I
love that he says $250 for fighting these men and $250 for not touching your cows.
Yeah. That's yes.
Pay me for something I didn't do.
Yeah. So he refuses. They kill 2 of his men. He gets real mad. They leave and steal some of his cattle.
Yep.
That's kind of this.
If you're not going to pay me not to steal your cows, then I'm going to steal your cows.
Yeah, you're obligated to. I feel like this is a setup for the end of the movie too. I never stole a horse from nobody I didn't like. He says that in the beginning. He basically establishes that with the cow thing too. Like, I respect you because I worked for you. Now I'm going to steal your cows. So it's kind of a 3P thing.
Yeah.
For the like, not the theme, but the like conceit of the movie that he got away.
Well, yeah. Well, and he steals Pat Garrett's horse at the end too. Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's like this is the middle of that little tent of them characterizing him as somebody who will then immediately steal your horse if you don't like him or if he doesn't like you.
It's another example of where the rest of the crew is like, Billy, he's riding up, approaching an ally, a trusted, somebody he thinks he can count on, that might even hide him on his vast ranch, but he starts with the money that he's owed. So it's just like, Billy, he has no tact, but he seems to know what he's doing. It's very odd.
Yeah. No, he's not
kind of an idiot savant when it comes to the like getting away with things.
Yes.
If he had approached this conversation a different way, then they might have gotten a room to stay in that night.
Yeah.
Or a meal. He robbed the entire crew of a meal. He could have said it around the table.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you owe me a little bit of.
Yeah. There's all sorts of ways he could have approached this differently that would have benefited him.
And remember Billy's list of who constitutes scum.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he doesn't trust this guy at all.
This is ultimately a slobs versus snobs movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Greasers and socias.
Yeah. So let's see. Chisholm gets big mad at Billy, so he joins Governor Wallace, and they offer Pat Garrett the job of Lincoln County Sheriff and $1,000 to hunt down Billy.
I love how often. Go ahead.
He has like a stilted lover thing. Like he's like, he killed the two men I love to kiss the most, was like the vibe of that guy. It wasn't like these were my two greatest hired hands. He was like, we lived in that house together for years. You murdered them.
I was the meat in their sandwich.
Well, and so many people in power and otherwise just tell him to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you won't hang. Just get the fuck out of New Mexico so we can be a state.
Just go somewhere else. No, and he just won't because he's like, I'm famous for being here. He likes the address.
This is my home.
Mm-hmm.
Billy didn't even kill either of those guys.
Yeah, no.
Dave killed the first one and Doc killed the second one.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of, Billy was intended.
Sure.
To save Billy, but
they wouldn't have killed him had Billy not set up that Rube Goldberg of, hey, kill
right.
these guys
If he had rode up like, we need a place to stay, we could use a hot meal. But he's like, bitch, you owe me money. Of course you're thrown off the property.
Yeah, absolutely. Garrett
excuse me,
gets journalist Asham Upsum to join him. Asham Upsum is the ghostwriter of Pat Garrett's actual book.
Didn't Gene Hackman have a similar character in Unforgiven?
Yeah, that was kind of a similar.
I think he did sort of a traveling writer.
Yeah, Asham.
I could be wrong, but I think so. Where he was like pumping up all of his accomplishments, and
that sounds familiar. Yeah,
Asham
like he'd been a journalist or something. Yeah.
Asham Upsum was also
knew how to read.
Yeah, he also held political office. He was a judge. He was postmaster. He was a fine, upstanding member of the New Mexico Territory.
But he did hate Billy for the way he tears up every newspaper when he's done reading it. He's like, do you know how long it takes? Just pass that on to someone.
It's like, it's a hand crank, Billy.
You're killing me here.
So they get joined by a group of Chisholm's men led by John Poe, aka Aragorn, son of Arathorn. Billy shoots up the paper and leaves it for Garrett.
Again, from last week. Where do they get the newspaper? Is it delivered?
Yeah.
The paper boy on his bicycle rode up and tossed him the newspaper. They're just tossing newspapers into the bushes.
It's really easy to find newspapers out in the middle of nowhere in the New Mexico Territory.
So, I only printed 200. Here, kid, do what you can do.
Yeah.
I like that Vigo's character is the one that's by the book. Like, he's just a lawman. Mm-hmm. He has no attachment to Billy. He doesn't respect anything Billy's done. It's an important character.
Yeah.
If it was just Pat, you would just have the conflict.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. He needs somebody there to bounce off of to show that he is personally invested in Billy still. He's the
Serpico of Lincoln County.
Yeah, he is. Then they find an Apache burial ground. Rudabow Christian Slater wants to desecrate the graves.
He's all, I haven't desecrated it in like a week. Give me some. He does. I think Al already mentioned it, that there is a commodity in the bones, but he talks about like you can get $1 for a decent. What?
Yeah. Oh,
for a leg bone.
Yeah.
You get $1 for a leg bone. You can turn that bone into a knife.
Yeah.
Patchy leg bone knife.
I did look up an inflation
Call it a sling
calculator.
blade.
Yeah, that was that dude's tough guy name.
I did look up an inflation calculator. The $1,000 to hunt down Billy in modern money is about $32,000.
Damn.
Yeah.
His mama would have shot him for that.
Yeah. Jude asked the question, is Lou Diamond Phillips' character more or less racist than the first movie? It's a toss-up.
I mean, it's not a competition. He could be super racist in both.
Yeah.
Not Lou Diamond Phillips, but
not Lou Diamond's. The
characterization.
Yeah, the characterization, not Lou Diamond Phillips himself, obviously, yes.
I will say this. I was surprised to see him throw only one knife this week.
That's right. There was so little knife throwing from Lou Diamond Phillips, where in the first one he was knifing McGee.
I was waiting in suspense for him to throw knives at people, going like, oh, he's going to save them. Nope, that guy got killed. Nope, there's no knife saving you this time.
He could have been throwing knives left and right if he'd
He could have saved that kid on the horse if he had just thrown a knife from like 100 yards away. He'd have nailed that Pat Garrett right in the face. He could have stopped this whole thing.
And in fact, he got stabbed by a knife. So,
yeah. How did he not throw that knife?
He just pull out.
I don't know.
Was it?
Knife went through his arm. Oh my god!
Oh, so
all the way through.
Also,
to the hilt.
You die. That would kill you.
Yeah,
you did.
So a bit of
there's no triage for that.
A bit of trivia: the reason that they had him get stabbed the reason they shot this whole scene with the burial ground was because Lou Diamond Phillips got thrown from a horse and his arm got broken. So they needed a reason that his arm was injured in the film.
I love that.
He got like dragged by a noose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was bad. He got fucked up.
Then he died in that plane crash.
That's
right. Was it us or maybe it was Andrea that had said when the crew of both of these movies would get together, or maybe the second one, to drink and hang out, they would eventually get Lou Diamond to sing La Bamba.
Yeah, that was
on the first one.
That was us. Yeah.
Maybe on the second one too.
Yeah. I wonder if by the second one he was like, I'm not doing La Bamba again, guys.
I'm not your monk dancing.
It's like, arguably, I'm more famous than all of you. Shut the hell up.
What was
at this point, right? He'd been La Bamba and...
Well, I mean, it's Emilio.
He wasn't famous then. Emilio and
Kiefer was also pretty big at this point.
Sutherland, that's
Lost
right.
Boys had been out at this point.
By this movie, they were getting him to sing Donna.
Donna.
People forget Richie Valens had a second song. He knew two songs.
Oh no! Come on, let's go.
Come on, let's go is really good. Yeah,
that's a bop.
It's also the exact same chord progression as La Bamba. So.
Yeah, a lot of things are though.
Yeah,
that's CGDs.
It was the 50s. There were only 3 chords in the 50s.
Yeah, they hadn't invented anymore.
4 if we're counting. I guess 4 technically if we're counting the Blue Moon progression. They let's see, Billy and the gang reach the town of White Oaks. They go to a bordello run by their prostitute friend Jane Greathouse.
That's a great prostitute name.
It really is. They have fun at the bordello, but then a lynch mob gathers, and a deputy comes in to talk. He offers to let the gang go in exchange for handing over Chavez. But instead, they dress the deputy up as Chavez and push him outside where he gets shot to death by the mob.
Before all that happens, Garrett's posse, they find the Apache burial ground.
Yes.
And then like some Navajos come over the ridge.
Yep.
Yeah.
And think that they desecrated They see the desecrated grave.
But Ashton Moxham is like, no, it was Christian Slater, famous grave desecrator.
Yeah, he loves it.
Because he's like taking a dump at the burial
He's taking a dump up on the halfway up the hill.
Yeah, which is a
He
weird
pops-
place to take a dump, I think. But
on a hill, yeah.
But yeah, he saves him. Up until that point, Poe, Viggo Mortensen was like, we got to get rid of this guy. He's slowing us down. Blah blah blah. But then he saves their asses.
Yeah.
He reminded me of Bill, the accountant from Life Aquatic, who starts off as the company stooge, but by the end you're like, all right, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Or like Matt Damon's character in True Grit,
Yeah.
I'm all about the book. Rules are very important.
Yeah. Or like Brody in Last Crusade. By the end he has like he has he has got a bandana around and a sword, and it's like, let's go.
The pen is mightier than the sword.
But yeah, sometimes our dog poops uphill,
sorry,
and
that was Sean, wasn't it? I'm sorry.
Sometimes our dog poops uphill, and I'm always like, can't poop uphill. It's bad news, man.
And now I have to go get it.
Yeah. Well, so it's gonna roll down. That's
yeah, exactly.
Simple gravity, dog. Why don't you understand this?
Didn't they teach you that in dog physics?
Didn't they?
In dog school.
My pug would lift both of his hind legs up as if and just be balancing on it, not to shit, but to pee.
Oh.
And it'd be like, Augie, why are you don't have to do that.
Like a high school wrestler just balancing on their hands kind of thing.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He didn't want to get his back feet wet.
Yeah. Could be.
Dogs are so
smart
weird.
dog.
So
boy howdy.
Yeah. So let's see. Oh yeah. So then Garrett arrives at the bordello later on after they leave. He burns it down, so Jane strips naked, gets on a horse, and rides away.
Lady Godiva style.
Yep. I'm glad it was side saddle. Otherwise, that would have been a real bad time for her.
Yeah, and I totally
She knows what she's
believe-
doing.
Yeah, it's not our first rodeo.
It's not her first Lady Godiva.
Yeah, it's not her first time riding naked out of town as her bordello burns.
As all of those 1800s men living in the hills wouldn't throw her in the pit immediately.
Yeah. I did like when one of the funniest moments I thought was when after they shoot the guy dressed as Chavez, and they all gather around the body, and the one guy just goes, "Uh-oh."
Exactly. Maybe
And the mob
Lynch
skins out.
Brothers-
Just like, oh, fuck.
I don't want to
better
get
get
blamed
out
for
of
this.
Yeah, they always suspect the dudes in hoods.
The gang, Garrett gets caught up with by Garrett's posse. Tom gets shot
At the Guano Town.
at the Guano Town. That's right.
Mines, yeah.
Yeah. Which is used what in explosives? Is that no?
I
Is
think
that
so.
Fuel.
Yeah. No, it's literally, I think they get the ammonia from it also. And for farming.
Fertilizer.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I know you can use it as fuel,
Yeah.
Interesting.
like not fuel for a vehicle, but to burn.
But yeah.
Yeah. It has multiple uses. Makes me think.
Honestly, I was not familiar with the concept of a guano mine, and it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. It really does.
First time I heard about guano was Ace Ventura 2.
There's bats under the bridge just right here down from my house, so I'm intimately familiar with guano at this point. The smell, at least, is nothing else. But after Tom gets killed by Garrett, which did not happen again, he died many years later.
Oh, no. Tom did die.
Oh, that's right.
in
Tom
this
died.
Tom died. It was
Chavez and Doc.
Doc and
didn't.
Chavez.
That's right.
They
Tom did die. Band name.
Tom did. Yeah. Billy admits that the Mexican Blackbird is not a real trail. It was just a ruse to keep the gang together. He never planned on escaping to Mexico.
There was the whole bit of them going down the cliff.
Yes.
When Chavez is screaming, "Stop, stop," in ancient Apache.
Ancient Apache. It's just Apache.
Navajo.
Guys.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's a Navajo word.
Him saying ancient Navajo is hilarious.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's the language you're speaking right now.
What's the modern Navajo word for stop?
Honestly, I wonder if at this point in the movie,
White man.
Phelps was just like, whatever. I'll just say whatever, man. Who cares? Let's just get this movie over with.
I don't think they're built in sequence.
I'm sure the hundreds of thousands of dollars if that Lou Diamond Phillips got cushioned the blow of having to say ancient Navajo.
Well, but yeah, no, just like I'm sure that there were moments along the movie being like, oh God, I didn't even think about this. All right, I'll say it. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he did have a broken arm at this point from getting thrown off a horse. I'm sure he was like, I'll say whatever, man. I'm so high on
just
Percodan.
get out of the desert. I want to go back to Los Angeles.
Yeah. I'm tired of being in Tucson. Doc decides he's going to leave for home. But as he leaves the little ruin they're in, he gets shot by one of Garrett's men. And we get a shootout. Doc does the whole sacrificing himself so that his friends can escape. Chavez gets wounded. Billy gets captured. And Dave Rudabaugh heads off towards Mexico while Chavez and Hendry head back to Fort Sumner.
So the only reason that Doc gets shot and killed in this movie is because of Kiefer Sutherland's shooting schedule. Like he had other movies to go shoot, and he only signed on with the stipulation that Doc Scurlock would die, so that he wouldn't have to do the whole shooting schedule and shoot through the end or something like that.
That's funny. What else was he in? Let's see.
Flatliners came out the same year.
Flatliners? Flashback? Oh, my God. The movie he did with Dennis Hopper. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Fire Walk with Me, A Few Good Men. All of those were The Vanishing. All of those were like right around this time.
A Few Good
The
Men.
Nutcracker Prince.
The Nutcracker Prince. Chicago Joe and The Showgirl. Everyone's favorite Kiefer Sutherland role. Yeah. So, Billy gets brought back to Lincoln. He gets sentenced to death, but then Jane visits. She's opened up a new bordello. She leaves him a pistol in the outhouse. He uses it to kill his captors, including Bob. Apparently, that's actually true. When he killed Bob, the words Billy, the kid, actually said were, "Hi, Bob," and then shot him.
And the hiding of the gun in the outhouse, that was true.
That was true
right?
also, yeah.
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 It was disheartening, Bell getting shot.
Yeah.
Because Billy didn't want to shoot him. He's like, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, he's like, I like this guy.
He's like,
yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Bell forced his hand.
He did.
Yeah.
But Bell was doing his job. He was like,
but I mean, yeah, he's obligated to.
Yeah.
It's
you
not
know
like Billy's
who
not
else
gonna
was
go out
doing
and
their
kill more
job?
people.
Oh, Jesus. Where are you going with this, Josh?
No, I stopped there.
Yeah. Billy finds his gang at Fort Sumner. Dave makes it to Mexico. Dave did actually escape to Mexico, where the Mexican authorities captured him and beheaded him.
Yeah.
As a warning to other outlaws trying to flee to Mexico.
Yeah, don't do that.
But it's funny that this whole movie, nobody knows his name, but he finally gets to Mexico and they recognize his name. And the one guy
Or they lie.
The one guy pulls out the knife.
Yeah.
Because he said earlier he killed 65 men, not including Mexicans and Indians.
Yeah, the Mexicans were like, why aren't you including us, Dave?
Well, and there was obviously no extradition laws in place, so posses would just run back and forth across the border trying to catch American outlaws.
Yeah.
I see where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Catch them in your country. That's your problem.
Yeah. So Chavez, dying, walks out to die. This is like 3 days later. Like, bandages exist, Chavez. At least tie a shirt up around it. There's all sorts of things you can do for a wound which doesn't kill you for 3 days.
I mean, it's a gut shot. You can't really do much besides die.
It does, but he didn't even wrap it. He's just holding it the whole time.
Yeah. Like pour some of that 120 proof whiskey everyone's drinking on it.
It's gonna hurt like hell, but it'll disinfect it at least.
Fights infection. That's all we got.
Yeah. Do that and wrap some fabric around it at a minimum.
He's like, nope. Mushroom I found packed with mud.
Best I can do.
That's not racist. It's historically insulting.
So that night,
Billy gives Hendry a nickname.
He does, and Hendry
Buckshot George. Just like, George is nowhere in my name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just go by Hendry William French.
Yep. Which is also
my made up name for this movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call you Eyeball.
Because you got two.
Got to. Yeah, I like that he's like, no, man, I've seen what this is all about.
Like, I'm good, bro.
I don't want your outlaw nickname. I'm a farmer.
That night, Pat Garrett arrives, and there's
some sort of festival.
Yeah, there's something there. There's piñatas. They're having a time.
Yeah. There's celebratory culture.
So Pat Garrett arrives. Billy says Pat Garrett could let him go to Mexico. Pat says Billy wouldn't be able to resist coming back and being a general asshole.
That's right.
Billy.
Pat tells Billy, Billy tells, he's like, you killed the boys, Patsy. And Pat's like, no, you did, bro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is on you.
Yeah, again, that's true.
Billy turns his back to make it easier for Pat to kill him. We cut away as we hear a gunshot, though we don't actually see it.
Pat shoots something.
Pat shoots something. Is it Billy or is it the window? Who knows?
Maybe it was the original Bushy Bob Roberts.
Maybe
they swapped the bodies.
Yes, but, they also buried someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it adds to the mythos. Yeah.
Yeah. In the morning, they hold the burial, but Pat Garrett's horse got taken by an unseen person. Mm-hmm. We cut back to 1950. Brushy Bill finishes telling the lawyer about being Billy the Kid, and then is like, never mind. I'm just going to go back into the desert.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck this.
Yeah, all this talking made me tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a text, we find out that Dave was beheaded in Mexico. Garrett's book was a failure. It wasn't really a failure. I mean,
maybe at the time.
Yeah. It's a very well-known historical document,
it did not bring him commercial success.
Yes.
I think that's what they're trying to say.
Yeah, it didn't bring him commercial success, but it is a well-known document with varying degrees of truth in it.
Which very Barnum and Bailey, very hip of him to be like, I'm going to hire a guy to write about me killing this dude because people want to read about this and I can make some money.
Absolutely.
And then Pat Garrett was killed almost 30 years later.
Yeah.
By a 21-year-old man.
Yep. Credits roll to the sweet, sweet sounds of the Garden State's second most beloved classic rocker, John Bon Jovi.
They do tell us that Brushy Bill Roberts was discredited when he went before Governor Thomas Mabry.
Yeah. I mean,
1950.
They did not believe his story, but there's been various historians since that have been like, maybe, we don't know. Who's to say?
And then he died less than a month later after testifying.
It is a really fascinating idea, though. Just whether or not it's true, just that we've allowed this legend to live on now, because whether or not the guy's the real guy, he stepped back up in the 50s, 70 years later, and was like, alive.
Yeah. Nothing
can inject more, mystery into a thing than a guy being like, I'm alive, and then dying immediately afterwards.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's a good way to peace out, for sure.
You said at the beginning, I'm dying. I want my pardon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then
we're all dying, man.
And we all want our pardon.
Yep. And we're all going to die right on schedule.
1 month after we talk to the governor.
The reason this movie means so much to me is like the second time I ever like majorly made out, it was during this and after this movie.
Woo!
So it has an indelible. It wasn't the first time I made out, but it was the first time that it was full on.
I think Viggo Mortensen was there for my first time making out.
You were going
10 years later,
You were going down in a blaze of glory, Josh.
Yeah, I was.
John Bon had two explainer songs in this movie.
What was the other one?
In the credits, it came right after Blaze of Glory. It was Billy Get Your Guns.
That
was also a John Bon.
Yeah. John Bon's... I remember that. I remember, I again, talking about, I think it was in Living Color. They had John Bon's bonbons. Yeah. That's Young Guns too.
There it is.
We got any unanswered questions?
Not a question, but I just watching this, and there's a lot of comparisons between the comic book world now and westerns, and how will comic book movies go the way of the western, blah 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 blah. It's interesting to watch a movie that's kind of built like a comic book movie. You've got this ensemble cast and everybody's got a little bit of personality. You're supposed to like a character, everybody's got something for somebody, but that they didn't do more of this, that they didn't get a Lou Diamond Phillips movie or whatever. I know it's like too early for that kind of thing to happen, but it made me wonder, will we get like a new Brat Pack of young adults that they try to make westerns with and try to squeeze more blood out of it than they got out of Young Guns? I mean, because these two movies could have been 3 or 4 movies, arguably.
I mean, isn't the current like cinematic West universe in the Western genre the whole 1923 Yellowstone, all of that?
Oh, that's for boomers.
But that's for old people.
Yeah. I mean, like something that, because this was not for older people. This was for. This was the Gen X Western. Yeah.
Bone Tomahawk is not bad. It's a pretty cool Western. Genre bending.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's gonna be westerns for young people. Like, it's just such a.
They don't romanticize it.
Yeah, it's such an old person genre at this point. And there's still good westerns made, but they're more like, this is a prestige drama western, not like a fun action-y western.
How well did True Grit do, the True Grit remake?
I mean,
not as well
as well as it could, maybe. But that's also like 13 years old at this point.
Fair.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Young Guns?
Young Guns, too. Yeah. That means we're going to thumb it. We are going to thumb it, and as always, we'll go around the table. Josh.
I gave the first one a thumbs up because it still hit the nostalgia buttons and I like, but I'm giving this a thumbs up because it's a well-made movie all around. Much better. So, thumbs up.
Absolutely. Thumbs up from Josh. Brian,
I had my complaints about the first one. I have complaints about this one, but I got to give it a thumbs up. I really enjoyed this. This movie, watching it last night again, it got better later into the movie. Not a lot of movies get better as they end. A lot of movies kind of fail at the ending. And this, like the old Pat Garrett in the room thing was not perfect necessarily, but I liked how it all came together in that moment. So yeah, thumbs up for me.
Nice. Thumbs up from Brian. Al.
So I'm going to give it a thumbs up with the caveat. I think I actually liked the first one better.
Whoa. I wasn't expecting that.
Hot take.
Yeah, I don't know. This one jumped around and it seemed like it had a few gimmicks.
Al doesn't like gimmicks.
That were unnecessary. No, I like gimmicks, man. I'm not saying I don't like gimmicks, but I don't know. It was just, I mean, and it's not by much, but still, I kind of like the first one better. It was just like to me, it was a more solid story. But still, Young Guns 2, thumbs up.
All right, Young Guns 2, thumbs up from Al, even though he liked the first one better. And I am also giving this a thumbs up. I did like it better than the first one personally. I thought it was a much tighter, more entertaining film than the first one, which I gave a thumbs down to. But this is what I remembered when I remember Young Guns. So that's it for our Young Guns series, which means it's time to talk about what our next series is going to be. We've got a little hiatus here in our comic book movies, so we're going to be fitting in another series throughout the remainder of 2024, along with all of our... We've got some holiday ones coming up here in the next few months, but in addition, we're going to be doing another series, and this series is going to be chosen by Mr. Brian Lesh. Brian, tell us what the next movie series we're going to be doing is. You're muted.
You're muted.
I chose Alien, right?
Aliens, yes, the aliens.
Okay. For a second there,
I'm glad I got you off guard.
I don't remember choosing a movie. Oh my God. Yeah, Alien.
Yeah.
We've already done the first Alien.
We have, and we're not going to do Alien a second time, so we will just be reposting our first Alien episode. It was a monthly movie. We're going to be posting it though as a main feed film. So that will be going up next week, and then after that we'll be going through all the Aliens films, not any V Predators, just mainline Alien franchise movies. That does include the Prometheus, though. So that's coming up in the next few months. And of course, as I said, we're going to have some Haunted Phosphorescence and Holiday Phosphorescence coming up too over the second half of 2024. So you're looking out for that. And
holidays, people.
Holidays. And then after the holidays are done, we'll be going back into our mainline comic movies to catch up on the rest of the 2024 comic book movies before we get to Al's series in 2025. So brief look there at our schedule coming up for the next 6 months or so. So with that, thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Lord, I never drew first, but I drew first blood. I'm no one's son. Call me one of your hosts, Thoreau Smiley. I'm going down in a blaze of glory.
Regulators, mount down. I'm Josh Stacey.
I shall finish the game, Doc. I'm Brian Lesh.
And I'm still waiting on my pardon, Governor. Mallory Weber.
Coming any day out. We'll see you next time, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.